Hello folks and welcome to episode 13 of Modular Curiosity. Wow, 13 episodes. This is just getting better and better. I'm really having a lot of fun doing this. Okay, today we are going to talk about the Resonator, which in the real world is Mutable Instruments rings, but in VCV Rack we call it the Audible Instruments Resonator, right there. This is pretty cool. This can do some amazing things. So, let me go get started. I will be right back. And we're back. Okay, so what we have here is the Resonator. Now, this is really a cool module. This is not really an oscillator, but it sure works like a very cool oscillator. It can modify existing audible signals, but it's not really a filter. It just does some pretty amazing things. So let's start looking into what this is. Now, I made a little sequence here, quantized it so it's in tune. I have my gate going to strum. We're going to talk a little more about why it's called strum instead of gate. And then my voltage per octave going to voltage per octave here. And let's just run it and see what it sounds like if we are completely initialized. Well, that's kind of neat. It's sort of a marimba wood sound, kind of neat. Now, what we're doing here is if we're in the green mode, which is the Modal resonator mode, it's basically like hitting a drum, perhaps plucking a string, and the position is where on that drum head or where on that string are you going to pluck it. So let's just play with the position for a moment. Here we get some interesting harmonics there. Really kind of cool. Now, damping, well, that's exactly what it sounds like. It's how long is this thing going to ring? But it makes a tremendous difference in the tone. Check this out. So if I damp it a lot, boy, that's almost one interesting sound. Let's undamp it. Now imagine like a techno mix with, let's say, why is that not going? Let me try. Oh, because it doesn't go to in, it goes to there. There we go. Say a drum beat in the background, and you get this guy sweeping from high to low. Just a cool idea. Okay, let's undamp it. Bring the position back a little bit. Now we're getting more sort of a metallic, metallic sound. Now check out the brightness though. Now that almost sounds like hitting big metal tubes. Make it more bright. Now it definitely sounds metallic. Ooh, there's a neat bell sound. Now if we take the bright bell sound but damp it, see there's just a lot of neat stuff in here. Structure. With all of that stuff, we still have structure to go to. This is gonna, well, just listen. You'll love this. Now that sounds more like a plucked string, doesn't it? Wow. You know, I like the sound of this position moving, so what if we were to try modulating that? Wow, so we've got marimba sounds, we've got metallic sounds, we've got bell sounds, we have string sounds. Let's bring the position down and the structure down. Interesting. Now what if we brighten that? Let's speed that up. Just play with this because it is stunning. It's just amazing how much fun this is. Boy, that's almost guitar-like. And that's just one of the 3 modes. Before I go into the other modes, I want to talk about this side. Now, Rings, or the Resonator, is not a polyphonic module. But there's a reason why it says strum instead of gate. Okay, so if we let it play with a nice long damp, when this is green, it's only going to allow 1 note at a time to play. Now, as I said, it's not polyphonic, but if we go to the next mode, what will happen, let me turn this off so I can explain before we get there. It's going to allow 1 note to ring and die down while the next note hits. And in the red mode, it's going to allow 4 of those to ring. So let's see what that sounds like. Now we're going to allow, right now it's just 1 note at a time. We're going to allow 1 note to ring while the second note plays. Now if we go to the red mode, it's 4 notes, or 4 delays. Here we go. So now you're sort of getting a chord, but it's not a 4-note chord. It's just letting the last 4 notes of your sequence ring. If we play with that, we can get some really cool sounds. And let's play with the structure. Bell-like on this side. What a difference from that side to that side. You can see why this is becoming one of my favorite oscillators, and it's not an oscillator in the typical sense that we have waveforms like sine waves and triangle waves and square waves that we're sending out to a filter. This is more of a West Coast idea of synthesis rather than the traditional East Coast subtractive synthesis. And of course, frequency, which I'm varying with my Vulture octave so we can play melodies. But as I said, that's only one of the 3 audio modes. Actually 3, or is it 4? 4 audio modes. No, 3, that's just light indicating it. I'm going to go back to single note. And I'm going to go to the next audio mode, which is sympathetic strings. You're going to love this. Especially if we allow multiples. Wow, we're creating a melody just through changing the structure. Let's modulate the structure. That's just so much fun. Ooh. Okay, the third module, the third mode, this red mode. Okay. Let me read from the manual. Okay, I'm just not even going to describe this. I'm just going to read from the manual. The manual says the mode, which is red, right here, is a modulated / inharmonic string. Quote, this last method is perhaps the most familiar in appearance, since it is based on the extended Carplus-Strong method. The excitation signal is set to a comb filter with an absorption filter simulating the multiple reflection of a wave propagating on a string and being absorbed at its ends. However, to bring more variety to the sound, Rings adds 3 extra ingredients to this classic: a delay-compensated all-pole absorption filter creating more drastic plucking effects, delay time modulation emulating the sound of instruments with a curved bridge, like a sitar or tempura, and an all-bypass filter in the delay loop, shifting the position of the partials and recreating the tension of a piano string or completely bonkers inharmonic timbres. Okay, so that makes it perfectly clear, right? Yeah, me neither. Okay, it seems to say that this is a string much like a guitar string, something that is absorbed at both ends, which I think pretty much any string, you think of any stringed instrument, dulcimer, mandolin, banjo, guitar, harp, sitar, the strings are not open at both ends. They are closed at both ends and plucked in the middle, and they create all kinds of interesting harmonics. So let's see what this sounds like. Interesting. Okay, I can definitely hear the plucked string sound. Let's see what the structure changes. The position might make more of a difference. Ooh. Okay, that's much more guitar-like. If we damp it a lot, they all tend to sound like a muted drum. You know what that actually sounds like to me? It sounds like the PVC pipe tube instruments that the Blue Man Group plays. And if we put it on polyphonic mode, yeah, it definitely sounds like those PVC pipe tube instruments. Now let's undamp it and see what happens. This must be those completely bonkers inharmonic timbres they were talking about. Boy, I really like the sound of this while the position is moving. It reminds me of pulse width modulation. Yeah, is that cool? I don't know if I like modulating the structure, but there might be possibilities there. Boy, you can just imagine putting this behind a techno 4-to-the-floor bass beat, you know, some good acid sort of rhythm section in the background. But you'd have techno in a box right here. But there's also this input. And this is really interesting because you can take the strum and the voltage control, voltage per octave out, and you can put audio signals through this. Okay, this is going to be a little strange. Let's see, delete that one. What I have here is a sample that I got from freesound.org, which I just found really interesting. It's a Buddhist prayer ceremony. There we go. Yeah, I wanted to mute the resonate. It's just an interesting sound. Interesting soundscape. Now, what I've done is I've taken the left and right, put them into a mold so I get both sides of the stereo coming out as mono. One of them is going to the mixer. That's what you're hearing right now. The other one, though, I'm going to the input of the resonator. Now I'm going to go back and just initialize this. So we're going to start from go and see what happens if we resonate an audio signal. That's kind of interesting. Let's change the damping. Let's mix in some more of the original signal. Let's allow it to overlap. 2 voices. 4 voices. I think that's a little muddy. Let's go back to 2. Now, you want instant ambient? Go to the sympathetic strings mode. What if we started gating? We're not going to send anything to V octave, but what if I started gating this sound? What if I started changing the frequency of the audio input? sound again. That is amazing. So there you go, folks. The Resonator rings. Play with this guy. There is an awful lot in this module. Try different audio signals. I want to try not just, let's see. Whoop, let's turn that off. I want to try not just this kind of audio signal, but audio signals of other percussive instruments. I'm interested to see what putting a drum sound in would sound like, or putting an actual guitar sound, or putting a singing voice. These are all things that you just want to go, what if, what if, what if? That's the best way to learn about this stuff. Keep asking yourself, what if I try this? And then go try it, see what happens. Okay, that's episode 13. Pretty quick, but boy, there's a lot there. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. That does help me out. I really appreciate the fact that we're at almost 400 subscribers already after only 2 months. That's pretty cool. And finally, you know what we're going to say. As always, stay curious. See you next time.